to stress me, but right now
Obiageli Ezekwesili was born on April 28, 1963. She is popularly known as Oby Ezekwesili. She was born in Lagos State, Nigeria, and she is a former vice president of the World Bank African Region, a co-founder and founding director of Transparency International, co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, and has also served twice as federal minister in Nigeria. She is also a chartered accountant, consultant, public analyst, and senior economic advisor from Anambra State. She has won numerous awards, which includes the National Award of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic in 2006. In 2012, she was given an honorary Doctor of Science degree by the University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, Nigeria. She is also selected as one of BBC's 100 Women in 2013 and 2014. In March 2019, she won the Forbes Women Africa Social Influencer Award for her efforts on the Bring Back Our Girls campaign on social media. She was selected as a 2020 Global Leadership Awards nominee, also named as one of 100 visionaries featured in the 3D book Genius 100 Vision Thinkers, which was launched in Montreal, Canada in 2017 by Albert Einstein's Foundation. She was recognized by Time magazine as one of the Time 100 most influential people and by New York Times as one of the 25 women of impact in 2015. She holds the Robert F. Kennedy Award of Excellence in Public Service of the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Please sit back, relax, and listen to Top 10 Success Tips by Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe. And if you've subscribed, smash the notification bell. Also, like the video, like it right away. This helps other people to see the content of this video. Now, let's get into the real detail. The top 10 success tips by Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili.
Young people very much like the kind of demography that we have in this room today. And I talked about the office of the citizen. And I said that the highest office in the land is not the office of the president. It's not the office of the vice president. It's not the office of the Senate president or the Speaker of the House. It's not the office of the state governor. It's the office of the citizen. It's the age of the citizen. And so when citizens express their dissatisfaction in ways that appear to be uncivilized, unhealthy, toxic, it is because the necessary social capital that would have supported a healthier negotiation of the contract does not exist.
On democracy as a practice, I totally believe in that concept because on democracy in its meaning never varies. Democracy essentially and ideally and in definitional terms would mean the same thing, the rule of the common people, according to the way the Greek origin, lays it out. But democracy as a practice would get us to the point where we say, well, the practice of democracy is in the eye of the beholder. And so if the beholder looks at democracy and they do not evaluate their democracy as rising up to this to the steps at the level or the ideals that they believe they should say, then democracy as a practice takes us questions on who are the practitioners of democracy. The two primary practitioners of democracy that we know, the citizens, the electorate, and those that govern them. And so if something is wrong with democracy as a practice, we need to not just assume that it is something that would be fixed by people from outside of the kingdom of earth. It would have to be the people for whom democracy is meant. And the most important people that can fix democracy would be the citizens. The citizens will fix democracy. So after I ran for president in 2019 and then had to step down from continuing into the elections simply because there was a divergence of values between me, a party I was running on their platform. And, as a child who was taught by the dad to never negotiate my values, he says I can always negotiate my view when I'm faced with superior argument, but not my values. And so I decided that not even being president was worth losing my values for. And so I stepped down. When I stepped down, I then realized that I had learned so much more about the reasons that we have poor governance in my country and our continent, and that it is not simply a matter of when government is formed. It is the matter of when democracy kicks in through party politics and the elections. And so I decided to go learn a little bit more about the kinds of structural issues that were affecting our politics, our political incentives, our political outcomes, the political institutions and the failures in them. And so that set me on a course of a 6-month fellowship somewhere at the Robert Bosch Academy in Berlin. And in doing that, I came to a conclusion that politics is broken and that politics would need to be fixed. And that got me into the initiative that I call Fix Politics, hashtag Fix Politics, So this is really the heart of the matter. Of the barriers to women in politics and public leadership. And these barriers are multivarious. You have from socialization of women to not think that leadership is something they should express. And whereas I normally say leadership is gender neutral. And so a man can lead, a woman can lead. And then the cultural aspects of it, where certain culture and tradition says, a woman leading is almost an anathema, or the economic barriers where women are weaker in terms of economic, agency. And so they don't have the wherewithal to be able to have voice that follows economic power, or there are, in fact, basic political party hurdles that are in the way of women entering into the political arena, or in terms of the lack of capacity of women to actually take advantage even of opportunities because of imposter syndrome. And so all of these factors limit the scale of women that get into politics. But we have realized the more that women see Stacey Abrams, the more that they can see, Miss Harris, the more that they can see me persist in stating that women have every potential to be able to lead nations, to lead businesses, to lead families, to lead communities, the more that women get the confidence to be able to do that. When I was Minister of Education, able to do that. When I was Minister of Education, I basically decided that three things would drive the quality of people that would be on my team. It would be character, competence, and capacity. And when I used that as the yardstick to evaluate the different people that I had in my ministry, my goodness, I was shocked to see that majority of the people that passed the test were women. So I realized that life is a continuum. You know, contextual integrity is not something that I want. I was taught that integrity is not complete until it is consistent. And so for me, my activism, and which then led to my politics, because I frankly got tired of just asking people in the arena to do the right things. I mean, how can it be too hard to do the right things, especially when you've been a person of privilege? You know, for you to get to the place of public leadership is privilege. And so do the right thing. And, I got tired of shouting, please do the right things by the poor, do the right things by the women, do the right things by the young. And, it was a safe this was like a conversation with the deaf. So it got to the point where I said, it was either I just completely ignored my country and just accepted, invitation to other countries that wanted me to live amongst them, or I did one more thing. And that one more thing was to take my activism many notches higher by going into the political arena and to challenge the status quo. And I do think that even my having made that decision had its benefit. There are so many more young women, many more professionals who say, if Oby Ezekwesili could finally get into the political arena, then I can. And so it's well worth it that I made that decision. But it's even much more worth it that they saw me make the decision to hold on to my values, because it is not over until it is over.
Growth that is diversified, the growth that is inclusive. And at the heart of this is what kind of education system, what kind of skills are we emphasizing, what kind of economic opportunities. The great issue for us is that we have seen that if a sector actually gets the right kinds of policies, telecommunication, it changes slightly the structure of the African economy. We have understood that. So what is it about our wacky politics on this continent that's making us have people who are comfortable enough to watch the growth of the number of people that are on the margins of economic possibilities? That's the conversation. And I think that at the heart of it is that politics trumps economy on our continent, and that's a dangerous thing.
So I'd like
as productive and competitive as it should be. The opportunities are incredible. There's so much to leverage on. What is it that we know grows economies and expands opportunities? We know that if you have the sound policies, you're good. We know that if you have strong institutions and regulatory systems, you're good. We know that if you invest effectively and efficiently in the public goods that represent basic services delivery to citizens and to business, you're good. We know these three things. We know that economies that are enviable today, which used to be lower in GDP per capita compared to South Africa, take a China. A China went from where it was less than $1 trillion of GDP to $14 trillion of GDP. For goodness sake, we know that just embracing the basic principles of the markets and allowing the markets to set the incentive for the business. And by the way, my dear, you should get it right now. The business elite
and the political elite will be in trouble in this continent. If you want to say it's not our business to talk to the governments, that's a bit of a, Jim, you got to modify, because what the continent
militant groups or criminal gangs. 40% of those young recruits said they did it because they had no jobs. When you are idle, when you're unemployed, you get swayed.
Yes.
So how much more of a problem are we going to experience?
We're going to experience much more of it until we fix it. Problems are not, what do you call it? They're not rocket science. The good thing for Africa is that we actually find examples of countries and continents that have been down our path. But what did it take to solve it? We now understand some critical factors that go together to create growth. In all our conversation, I want us to take one thing away. We're not going to find band-aids as solutions because they don't last. We need real structural change of our economy, structural change of our political landscape. And so what it means is we have to be more deliberate and intentional about what we're saying on our streets. And we're not being that. You know what we're being? We're having good, normal situation conversations.
Yeah.
And that's very unhealthy because that's like playing the ostrich.
Yeah.
The young people that are out there are very angry, extremely angry. And they do not in any way differentiate between you, Loretta, me, and the billionaire Jim Ovia. The fact that you have any opportunity at all on the continent means that you are in trouble. So what we therefore must avert our minds to is how do we expand the opportunities? If you looked at all the sectors,
I think I need to say you're a former Minister of Education, so policy-wise, what needs to change?
What needs to change is we need to render the very anachronistic ministries of education redundant. A lot of what's going on is showing us that once you give a child basic literacy, education is now totally differently defined for the 21st century. And we need to upgrade our mindset to that. So change entirely, overhaul the education ministries across the continent. Take away these people who are still tied to the old ideas of the British education system, which they believe they are guardian angels for. We must overhaul that. Number two is we need to actually look at each of the sectors from where our opportunities can come and look at what it is that would make those sectors productive and competitive and then invest our policies.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Top 10 Success Tips by Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. If you enjoyed the content of this video, kindly like this video, share with family and friends, and also subscribe if you've not subscribed. And if you've subscribed, smash the notification bell to get notified in case any new content drops. And I will see you on the next episode. Peace.